It's time for Side Scrollers with me, Stuttering Craig. You decide when you lose, not other people. And Blabs.
I like pickles.
And co-hosted by our friends from around the internet. If you like common sense, hit that thumbs up button and, of course, the subscribe button. And join us Monday through Friday live at 11 a.m. Central Time. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on God's green earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and Twitch.tv for just a few more days. You Twitchsters, you crazy Twitchsters, get on over to Kick. What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday to you. Are you ready for a great day? Oh my God, you are? Me too, man. We got a great group of friends joining us today. As always, starting with the one, the only, Labs.
What's up, my nittas?
Okay, listen. We're not going to do this today. Blabs.
I just want to say we're not actually live on Twitch.
How are we not live on Twitch? Oh, we're live on X. Hold on. Got it. We're live on Twitch now. Here we go. Let's go. We're back and ready to go. Thank you, StreamYard, for that. Man, we got a good one today. Blabs, have you recovered?
Yeah.
After the stern talking to I gave you yesterday?
You're very stern, like,
Don't you do that.
I got slapped on the wrist. I
Did
can't
you?
show you my other wrist. Yeah,
You
it's
should
all
see it,
bruised
yeah.
and bloodied. Mm-hmm.
That's right. It was insane. It was insane.
Mm-hmm. I got put in the corner and wore a dunce hat.
How will we ever recover?
You can only go up.
That's true. Speaking of going up, talk to our great guests today. Listen, when we talk about how autistic are they in autism and gaming, my favorite guy in the world, the most hardcore you know what? We're gonna get right into this. We're going straight into this. It's truly time for hardcore. It's time for hardcore gaming with Mark the Cyborg. Let's go.
It's gonna be John. I'm the creator of classic web series RB and the Chief. No, I'm
that's
kidding.
good.
I'm the autistic gamer one, but John's great. That said, hello and thank you once again for inviting me on, as well as the puppy.
Man, I love that you can make him do that.
I just have to make her think I'm going to move her. That's it.
Oh, okay, good.
Because she's comfy.
Well,
she's in her happy place.
Don't move women when they're sleeping. You will get punched. You will get yelled at. Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, Rocky here is like just the most chill little boy. Like, I mean, he doesn't care about anything. You can put him in a corner or anywhere. He'll just be like, okay, this is comfortable enough. And he goes to sleep.
Mo came in and says, intro's too long. I'm out. Well, see you later.
Bye, Mo.
See you, Mo. You don't even have a chance to meet John, who is drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning Canadian time. Let's go.
It's Canadian time.
I'm not sure. I guess Canadian time is drinking in the morning.
What does that mean, Craig? Are you drinking, Craig?
Kind of like Miller time, I guess.
He's in the nice part of Canada, so it's Pacific time.
Oh, my God.
Wait, John, are you
man.
Canadian?
Yeah.
I just realized that now. Good for you.
I've been making Canadian invasion jokes the whole week about us being on together, and you're just
Yeah, but I just thought you were referring to yourself and again yourself.
Look at as if I have the gall to be an entire invasion. I'm like 4 feet tall, and I have one leg.
I was born in Scotland, but I'm a Canadian citizen. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we're glad
the invasion force.
We're glad you boys have joined us today. It's going to be a good one. But just for the record, John, what are you drinking?
Southern Comfort, Triple Sec, and Fireball.
Hold on.
Fireball is my poison.
Wait. At what time this morning were you like, it's a good time for a drink? Or is this every morning for you, John?
No.
There's one clarification though. Is this last night for you?
That was the
Did
next
you go to
question.
bed yet?
Yeah, it was last night for me. Yeah, and this
Wow.
morning.
So we're just
I feel like I
continuing
gotta
on.
Loosen up a little bit. Yeah.
Are you drunk right
Pretty
now?
No.
I don't think he'd tell you either.
Want me to touch my nose?
I mean,
I'll walk
you would not be the
backwards
first.
for
You would not be the first person to be
Not
drunk on the
driving.
show. I'm sure Blab's been lit several times. It's ridiculous. You should see Blabs in the morning.
I'm an alcoholic.
It's just nonstop tossing them back, man. It's great.
X-Ray Girl's sober January or dry January is ending shortly. So if you do want to see a drunk streamer, subscribe to X-Ray Girl.
Oh man, absolutely.
This is
February
true.
1st is coming soon.
I drank for her on her stream. Was it last time?
Yeah, no,
Last
she
time?
stuck to it. I can confirm, even in like cameras off, I've not seen her touch even a glass of wine in the entire month.
Wow.
And she loves it. She's got that corkscrew and everything.
Oh yeah, she has fancy corkscrews.
Wow.
Weird corkscrews.
Good. Well, I'm glad it is a drinking occasion. You're on the show, which is special. So hey, cheers indeed. Cheers indeed.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks
Let's
for having me on.
For sure. Like my thought was, when you include Fireball in anything, like it's time to go. You know what I
party
mean?
time.
It's party time, right? Like at a certain point, you're like,
Yeah.
Fireball? I used to be able to just down like basically a whole bottle with myself and one other person when I was younger. It was like my poison, man. Whoop!
wow. All right, sounds good.
Someone said that at the liquor store and I bought it. He's like, hell yeah, dude. He's
Oh, it's so good, dude. So good.
You must be looking to party. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he was saying. Yeah.
I love it. Well, look, today is going to be a party. We got a lot to talk about, so much to share. Because right off the bat, Bentley Guy 78 came in with a $50 Rumble rant. Says, Blabs, do you see that? Can you see it over there on Rumble?
I can. Oh my. And you want me to read that?
No, you're reading it, not me.
Bentley Guy 78 for $50. Don't let the niggers bring you down, Blabs. You go get it, madam.
Shane, look at it, Shane. Oh my God, ridiculous.
You remember how much it would suck if you got gum stuck to the inside of your Bentley? It's an expensive car, man.
Look at
Okay.
that. Well, nobody does have anybody here have a Bentley? Any
No.
issues? No. Okay.
I've-
I mean, we don't, but someone in the audience might. I mean, I hear it's super rich people that listen to us. And if you're not super rich now, if you listen to this show, you will be soon.
Good point. Good point. Yeah. We have a guarantee. It's like the stock market. We go up 6% every year. It's crazy.
What's that? That like old rich people you envision the money and it will come to you thing. That like it's called. I forget what it was. It was like you have to envision it, and then eventually the universe will just grant you that money, and no explanation on how to pursue it.
Okay,
Just
so
believe it.
this has been in the background of my set for a while, and nobody's actually seen this. This was a newspaper article that my grandfather gave me when I was, I don't know, in high school. And on the bottom, it has a penny here. And it says, "Good luck, Craig. This is worth $1 million." And the long and short of it is that it says you can retire wealthy if you plan. Isn't that awesome? So it talks about the market and how, you don't necessarily need to go to college, and how if you just don't smoke cigarettes or buy I'm hearing feedback. Am I hearing? Is that me? Oh.
No,
I didn't.
that was-
My camera just cut out. Was that me? Like when that happened? Like,
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
just
Mark
hearing
just
myself.
then.
Okay.
I was muted though, so that like.
But don't buy coffee every morning and stuff like that. You can, you'll be there. You're on their way. So, anyways. What a good show we have going on here. All right. Listen, hey, Zed, thank you so much for becoming a brand new member to the show. That's awesome, Zed. Love to see that. Really appreciate that. And Riley came in, says, "Hail Side Scrollers. Hail Mark with the puppies. The Yakuza great."
And we are starting Infinite Wealth when this stream ends. It is installed on my computer. It's unlocked, ready to go. We had a false alarm the other day because as I was apparently doing the preload, it flat out said on my Steam app, "When this is finished installing, hit play to start playing the game." And I was like, oh, did the better or like not better, sorry, actually kind of worse because I think you guys talked about the thing with the whole New Game Plus being shifted aside. So I didn't know that. I like the Yakuza games a lot. I bought the most expensive one blind because I've been playing a lot of the previous games on Game Pass. I think the series is great. So I was like, okay, I'll just support them and I'll get the big whatever one with all the bells and whistles so that their new game does well. And then they pulled the scummy thing. But I thought that maybe because of that I could play early, but no, it was just they didn't program the preload screen properly, and they gave me false hope. But I tried it beforehand, and yes, it works now.
You feeling good about that decision, Mark?
About which one?
Buying that ultra version
I
of
mean,
the game?
honestly, like it was more just me wanting to support the game. So if I didn't buy that, I'd probably just buy a Steam copy of one of the games that I'd previously just played on Game Pass. But I mean, either way, I'm playing all the games regardless. But I think it's stupid. And my I mean, do you want to talk about it? Because I could probably go on for a while.
No, I really don't. Thank you, Blabs.
I think it's a very bad precedent though, so I don't enjoy.
I've just been hovering over it, waiting for him to take a breath air, and he just didn't do it.
Yeah, I've learned how to speak as I'm breathing in now too, so I'm unstoppable. I got the idea from that Tenacious D song, "Inward Singing."
Hey, John. Every time Mark continues talking for just a little too long, you take a drink today. I think. There we go.
John understands my long rants the best, though. He's been on like EFAP episodes with me, and those tend to go late.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I matched the autism here.
Yes,
fine.
Yeah.
Like,
it was true. Before you two hopped on, I was like, this stream is gonna be full blown tism, but I can't wait.
Well, hey, John, will you bring your mic a little closer to your
length.
face?
Oh yeah, sorry, man.
Let's get you a little bit tighter. There
I'm learning to rein myself in, though. I got you to stop me before I fired into a really long rant. I was like, hey, do you want me to talk about this now or not? Hit play to continue Cyborg.
Excellent. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's get through the beginning of our show before we just hand it over to Mark and let him talk about Yakuza games for an hour and a half. It'll be great. Mark's like, really? Yes. All right. Look, I want to remind you guys, we are live over at rumble.com/sidescrollers. Join us over there. Hit the follow button over there as we continue to grow, approaching 6,000 followers now. Love to see you guys over there. Also, we have an X account. You can follow us over there and find out who's going to be on the show and get clips and watch the insanity that happens on a day-to-day basis. We also have an Instagram, don't we, Blabs?
We do, and we're at 1,169 followers. So there you go. Follow us.
Nice.
Or else.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We also have a Kick account at kick.com/sidestrollers, which once again, we're hoping all of our friends over at Twitch slowly transition over there. They're slowly moving, which is wonderful. We had like 30 people watching, and now we have 11, which I don't know if that's a quality of the show issue or they're actually migrating over. So you guys head on over there, which is great. And we also have the show on Spotify. If you like the audio version of the show, you can't catch us live. You just want to listen to the show on your iPod, like it's 2006.
I have an iPod Touch still.
Of course you do, Blabs.
I use it in my car. It just stays in there all the time. I just blast music on it.
Man, blast that music. You're crazy.
I still have an iPod Classic around somewhere, like an 80 gigabyte one, which was gigantic at the time, by the way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I remember my brother got me an MP3 player for like, I don't know, it was early 2000s, and he's like, you can hold like 12 songs on this. And I was like, all right. It was pretty great. If you're new to the channel on YouTube, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Join the 65,519 wonderful common sense seekers in the video game and entertainment space. And as always, we're going for 500 likes every single episode and 20 memberships for each show. Let's see if we can continue on our wonderful streak. If you guys are watching and you guys would like to help Jeff Bezos pay us some money, you can use your Amazon Prime sub. It's free. Link up your Amazon Prime to Twitch and then head on over there and hook us up. I think we may continue that gag all the way, even when we're not streaming on there. So eventually, we're streaming. People can just keep putting their Prime sub over on us, even though we're not actually streaming. I think it'd be pretty good.
I thought you meant just telling them to go over there, and then they can't find the channel, and they're like, "Man, are they even on Twitch?"
That'd be pretty good. Pretty good. Before we get into all the fun stuff today, John, do you have any fun projects going on you want to share about, or you got anything to talk about this morning before we dig into it?
I'm making an RB in the Chief right now about New Year's resolutions, and Chief is vowing to fuck Arbiter's mom a little bit less in the ass this year. That's what the whole episode is about.
Good for him.
This is why we're glad you're on. By the way, I don't know if I had a chance to tell you this, but congrats on the 100K, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Pretty
Yay.
spectacular.
I appreciate that.
I mean, that's really great. And I saw your unboxing videos and all that stuff. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, I had a good time with that. That was a fun stream.
There's Yellow Flash. I was doing a little research on this Tekken 8 thing. Did you hear about this Tekken 8 story?
Tekken 8, no.
Apparently, I saw the quarterings tweet, and is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, it's tongue in cheek.
Trash talk, one line, out of context screenshot.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, so wait, no, he wasn't serious?
No. It's a joke.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
The line is in there. It's a line about cultural appropriation, but the next line is like, "Will you shut up?" You know.
I know that, and I didn't even know that that's what came next, but I could already tell you that it would be something similar because it's pre-fight trash talk in a fighting game. I was just like, you understand? She's gonna finish saying that. Your character is gonna say something, and if you're really bothered by it, you then get to beat the crap out of her. So I mean,
wouldn't it be great if that's how life worked, like real life,
like an actual video game, fighting game? Yes, I've thought that a lot.
Like Twitter. Let's imagine how if Twitter worked like that, right? The idea that you said something, then I said something, then we fought.
Yeah.
Like I think there'd be a lot. Twitter would be a better place.
The thing is, fighting games, when you compare the rules in a fighting game versus a real fight, like a real martial arts fight, the idea of having 2 rounds in which you're knocked out at the end of one, and then you just get up and you're at the same power that you were at the beginning of the last one. Already we're playing in fantasy land. So I think if we're talking about real humans fighting real humans with real bones that they're throwing into each other's faces, probably not the best idea.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of, I did an interview with the Pacina brothers, and Daniel and Carlos Pacina. They are Daniel was the original Johnny Cage, and that interview is going to be cut. It's going to be released in February sometime. But we spent about an hour talking about martial arts. And these guys are super freaks when it comes to martial arts, right? We were talking about punching. So we were talking about how important it is to punch the right way. And they're talking about how in the original Mortal Kombat, I never knew this. There's subtle differences between the way the fighters actually fight. Yeah, I'm getting feedback again on there. Was that me?
Nothing happened to my camera that time, so I don't think it was me there.
But the long and short of it is, I guess some fighters fight, they put their fist out like that, and some fight like this, right? And it's a way the impact is made. And I didn't know that. I guess I got to go back and look at it. But at some point, one of the brothers was talking, and the other brother offered up his chin to show the best way to fight. And he was talking about if you punch a guy with a flat fist like this, then you're only going to get the impact of like the first 2 knuckles. But if you extend your knuckle out like this, it'll break their jaw a lot easier. And I'm like, all right. So at any point you can kill me, which is great.
You might really risk breaking your finger though. If you have a finger popped out, that's not a good way to punch, I would say.
Well, I'll say that. Well, the idea is that you kind of extend it out, right? Instead of like this, it's kind of extended a little bit. It's still clinched, but
you've got your thumb on the inside of it.
No.
Your thumb's what closes your fist to properly punch.
I'm not a martial arts guy. I was listening to them going, okay, that sounds great. You know, like I don't know what I'm talking. You know, just lapping it up like a puppy dog. It's crazy.
Can I ask, when you say the original Johnny Cage, do you mean for the game, for like the sprite rendering, or like the movie?
I mean for the game, for the sprite rendering.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. So I spoke with him as well as his brother, and his brother was with Mortal Kombat up until a couple of years ago. He was with NetherRealm for a long time, so he was there for the entire duration of the story. I'll tell you this, man, that interview was fascinating because there is an entire story of the real story of Mortal Kombat, how that came to be, and it is very different from the public narrative about how that game came to be, because if you mention Jean-Claude Van Damme to those guys, they're like, didn't happen, not even true, you know, because the original idea was that the game was supposed to be a Jean-Claude Van Damme fighting game or something. I'm telling you this right now. It's a fascinating interview. I can't wait for it to be released. We talked for 2.5 hours, and it was really, really good. So, anyways,
awesome.
Yeah, when it's released, it should be pretty spectacular. Hey, Blabs the Tower Tard came in really good. Blabs, you got anything to say?
Yeah. Blabs a tower tard for $2. Should me run show now, me not put cod chat on live?
You don't need to say Blabs the Tower Tard.
Well, I do. It's in character.
Okay.
She announces where she comes from.
That's true. It is I. Then
The
Max
Tower
came
Tard
in.
character's been a favorite of mine recently.
Thank
Like following radio procedure before you start speaking.
We'll see how long the Tower Tard lasts. It'll be good. I'm waiting for somebody on Twitter to get a hold of that. That'll be good.
A parody account.
Max came in and says, Blabs combine the powers of all your characters and give us a bully, bigot, Tower Tard Blabs. Kind of like Captain Planet, but for right-wing video gamers.
Oops.
That's us, the right-wing video gamers over
Yeah,
here.
supposedly.
It's crazy, man. It's awesome. It's funny. I had another conversation with a lady, which will air, Carrie Smith, and we were talking about that. The idea that these people are so insane that anything to the a little bit this way, it's like, you bigot, you whore. It's we've all seen it. We see it every day on Twitter. It's fascinating. And here we are, loving it. It's great. All right, Mark, do you have anything that you'd like to share? Do you have any animations, anything about characters wanting to fuck other moms or whatever?
No. My Christian documentary series is still being made, so I got to work on that one a little harder. Yeah, it's upsetting JoJo even talking.
JoJo. All right, thanks. Appreciate that. All right, let's get into it. It's time for my favorite segment. Your favorite segment. It's time for everybody's favorite segment. It's time for Hard News. All right, let's go, man. We're gonna have a good one today. We held on to this story because our boy John's on the show, and
I think I know what this is.
I think you know exactly what's going on here. Let's talk Master Chief. So the Halo TV series, I have not watched it. I don't have any desire to watch it. The idea behind the Halo series was that you are the hero. Well, now guess what? You are not the hero. And one of the most controversial things about season 1 was that they added a face to the faceless character of Master Chief. And there's been a little bit of blowback as the lead character of the show, the guy who plays Master Chief, says, if you don't agree with the helmet coming off, you don't like our show. There you go.
Yes.
So John, what are your thoughts on the lead character of the Halo series saying, if you don't like it, don't watch it? Peace!
The cast and crew of the show on this matter kind of reek of arrogance to me, especially lately. I like Pablo Schreiber. I think he's a good actor. Like, I remember him from season 2 of The Wire. Like, he's good. I think he just gets bad direction in this show. Like, I imagine in terms of direction, they're probably flip-flopping between, like, play it more human, play it more like, a robot. And they can't quite make up their mind sometimes. I don't know if that's the case. But anyway, regarding this helmet off thing, I think Pablo is just doubling down, not only for the sake of, because he wants the show as it is to keep going, but he's an actor and he wants to be seen. I sympathize with that to a degree. Like, all actors, want to be in stuff so they can be seen and, point to themselves like that was me, or like, they don't even need to. It's like, that's me. I sometimes wonder with shows with like helmeted characters, if like Mandalorian, for instance, if what's his name didn't show up that day, or he's stuck in traffic, it's just like, let's just get one of the grips or a janitor, put the suit on him, and then just grab this shot quickly, right? Because all you got to do is some body acting. I'm not saying there's no skill involved, but like sometimes all you need is the face for like a certain shot. But anyway, they're saying that the helmet needs to come off to explore the humanity of this character, and it's just not true. The games have demonstrated this already. The Halo games themselves. There's plenty of cutscenes that explore the humanity of Chief, but also like the war machine side of him. That's what the helmet functions as. It's a storytelling device. It's a metaphor for the mask that he has to put on as a soldier to sort of block his humanity from the enemy seeing it, and shield, like blocking off your humanity to do what's necessary, what's deemed necessary by your nation, or in this case, planetary existence, right? And it's already been demonstrated that you don't really need faces to inform people of thoughts and emotions of a character that you're watching. This was demonstrated in the 1910s. There's a guy called Lev Kuleshov, I think his name is, and he has this historical film editing example of juxtaposing a guy with like a serious face against a number of different objects. And every time there's a different object juxtaposed with the same face, the audience is thinking different things. They're saying, oh, that guy's, like if it's a bicycle, it's like, oh, that guy is staring longingly at that bicycle. He really wants to go for a bike ride. Or if it's food, it's like, oh man, he's hungry. Or if he's staring at a woman, it's like, oh, he's staring so lustfully at that person. And it's the juxtaposition that's informing them of the thoughts and feelings, not the face. Hitchcock demonstrated this in a filmmaking editing example as well. And so the idea that Pablo now and the crew are saying, no, we need to do this. You don't understand. It's like, no, you don't get it. You don't get it. And not only is there plenty of examples to prove you wrong, the Halo games themselves have already proven you wrong, and parts of your own show that you've done already in season 1. There's a part in season 1 where Chief has his helmet on and he's looking around his childhood home. And it's just like shots of him with his helmet on looking around. And it sort of magnifies the audience's consideration of what might be going on in his head, and I think actually makes it a bit more interesting. I'm not trying to downplay like facial acting or anything, but Pablo's an actor. I don't expect him to quite understand film editing and film theory to its full extent, but he's just like saying all this stuff as if it's fact and what they're doing is the right way of doing it, and I find it irritating. But I'm still gonna watch season 2. I want to see
Sucker.
what they turn it into. Yeah.
I gotta say, with Pedro Pascal for The Mandalorian, for the most part, right, he barely had his helmet off on the first season, and it was executed pretty well, I'd have to say, with the whole helmet. You could tell what he was thinking just by like his body movement, the way his helmet was looking down certain angles. I thought they did a great job, and then they went and just took off his helmet for like a good chunk of season 2, and I was like,
My little look of disagreement there was when you said they did it well. I'm like, he just takes his helmet off to eat soup in front, like with an open window and a bunch of people walking around. Yeah, this guy's not even trying to keep his helmet on all the time.
Well, no, I was saying like acting wise, like how you can understand what he's thinking. Yeah,
I'm just saying, if anyone saw me when you said they did it well, and I was like, ooh, that I turned into the Christian Bale meme.
Yeah. But I just think these actors are just so high and mighty, and they want it, like John says, they want to be seen. But that's not your job. Your job is to portray a character that millions and billions of people love, right? So do your job.
I replied to the original like IGN tweet where they shared it. It is the same one that you guys I think did shared a retweet of in the thing. But I saw the original one and I just said like false, and then posted a GIF of V from V for Vendetta, because I'm like, look, that's a French mime, like a master French mime. And Hugo Weaving's voice. And those two people together made a very, very memorable character who conveys a lot of emotion, and not just through his voice deliveries, not through his line deliveries. It's also through the looks that V's giving and the way he's moving his head. And you can tell that the person they got to do the body acting was someone who was like an expert in it and was able to convey a lot with just the way he moves. He was always very graceful when he was in the hideout talking to Natalie Portman, but then when it's time to fight, he kind of gets a little more gritty. And I thought that they showed those character differences quite well in V for Vendetta. So the idea that you can't possibly have a character whose face you never see and feel something for them, I'm like, that isn't true though. Honestly, the easiest example that you can give anyone is Darth Vader, probably.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. You only see his face for 2 seconds at the very end.
Dredd and RoboCop are a little bit different because you can see a bit of their face, but I think both Carl Urban's performance in Dredd and Peter Weller's performance in RoboCop it's almost like they were very much taking it seriously and doing their best to seem as machine-like as they could, so that when they did just give that little bit glimmer of emotion, you really did feel it. And I think both RoboCop and Dredd are good examples of that.
Yep. And I'm not even against, really, Chief's helmet coming off in the show at certain points. I think you can write scenes where you could get away with that, but they have him take off his helmet at the dumbest fucking times. Like on the battlefield, you know, he just like takes it off. It's like, what are you doing? There could be a jackal sniper that could take you out in one hit right now. Plus, you're destroying the whole
like the intel feed.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
intel feed.
Exactly. That you got the radar on there, and they did set that up because they have a POV shot from inside the helmet in episode 1 where you see a little radar thing. Like you're getting these live tactical data on the fly. And not only that, wearing the helmet is a war tactic to scare the enemy, because the Spartans are supposed to be these faceless demons, and when they show up, the Covenant are meant to go like, oh shit, you know. But once the helmet comes off, it's just like, oh, he's just a guy, and then that can destroy morale and give the Covenant the edge, like the courage to just be like, these guys aren't so tough, you know. Like there's a fear element there that works tactically for the UNSC. But
the only time, oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were finished.
No,
yeah,
I think I said everything. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that they did show Master Chief's face once in the games, and it's for like a frame if you beat Halo 4 on Legendary, because then basically Halo 4 ends with him going in this big machine that takes off the Mjolnir armor. And if you beat it on any other difficulty, the helmet lifts off and it just cuts to black. But if you beat it on Legendary, the helmet comes off and you see just the eyes of an old man, like just an old weathered man who is probably far older than you would maybe be picturing Master Chief in your head. But yeah, that's it exactly.
Oh, right, yeah. I forgot about that
little frame.
I thought it was the back of his head for some reason that you said.
No.
I forgot you actually see his eyes.
Yeah. But like, the thing is, this goes back to the thing that I've been pissed off about with how they've been dealing with difficulty and trophies lately, where you can now get like platinum a game on PlayStation without any difficulty-based trophies. Like you can beat God of War on easy and still get every single trophy in the game. So me beating on Give Me God of War is something you'll just have to trust me on, because I have no trophy with which to prove it. But that was, I think, a nice little thing they did where there is a tangible reward for especially fans of the series and guys who would take the time to go through Halo 4 on Legendary, which I gotta say it's a grindy one. The Prometheans are pretty tough when they start sniping. But yeah, and I thought that was nice to give that as a reward. So on the show, it's just very cheap in comparison.
Right.
All right. Sorry, I've been digesting a news story that just kind of popped up. We're going to get to that in just a second. I'm very intrigued by this news story. It literally just sprang up in the last 10 minutes or so. I'll get to that. Scarpy says Halo should have been done as a Super Sentai.
So that's like a Power Rangers type show,
right?
Like a team of people who like Voltron or something, where they have suits and then they have machines, and the machines combine into a big thing.
Yeah.
Nut Buddy says maybe they could have just artfully showed certain segments of his face every now and then, but never the whole face.
I think a good way to do it would be to have they only take their helmets off when it's just the Spartans together.
Yeah.
So like the only time they're out in the Mjolnir armor is maybe a few scenes per season where it's like they've finished a battle and they've like undressed, they're out of the Mjolnir armor. And then maybe not even have them talk when they do that. So be like, you can either have them speaking and like acting like normal people when they're in the thing, but when the second they have their moment of rest, it's like they look each other in the eye. They all kind of, I mean, at least the main, I don't know who the characters are on the show because I know they did their own timeline, but at least in more modern Halo lore, the actual Halo lore, it would be John, who's Master Chief, Fred. Oh God, I'm forgetting the sniper's name. And Katie. Linda and Katie. And they would be the only ones that you would see. And I think that would be a really good way to keep the mystery while still being able to show their face and give them powerful performances. But, you know.
Mark, do you have a podcast that you do on a day-to-day or a regular basis?
I'm actually, well, I mean, not really a gaming one. I stream often all the time, but I'm actually on starting Sunday at 11 a.m. on Metal Commander's channel. I'm going to be regularly hosting Metals Forge with them on Sundays. So
nice.
It's also another show that if you guys want to watch an episode of that show, John and I are on there talking about Tears of the Kingdom with Fringy and Metal Commander for like
Fun.
5 hours.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Almond John over on Rumble has a long message, but the long and short of it is that he says, I don't want to leave the stream, and then he tries to get us to say bad words. But thank you so much, Almond John. I'm not going to read that. Lone Wolf says, hey, hi Craig, Blabs, and crew. Maybe I am getting old, but is the amount of drama around Palworld crazy? Have you? We're going to talk about Palworld in just a little bit. Thanks, Lone Wolf. We got that on our.
I don't think it's really that crazy. I mean, if you look at Hogwarts Legacy, that shit was blown out of the water, and this
Sounds like a woman who hasn't lost her wife to it.
Playing Palworld. Mo says, okay, you guilted me into coming back. Don't mind my crotchety peanut gallery comments. Well, thank you, Mo. Appreciate it. Glad you're here. Lone Wolf says, okay, now I can rant. Why don't these actors/directors understand why you never saw the mask come off the Lone Ranger, Batman's cowl, Spider-Man's mask? It is the symbolism as well. Thank you, Lone Wolf. Appreciate that. And Dan says, I watched the first season of Halo. I thought it was rough. It looked really cool in live action from video game, but I didn't really care for it. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you. And look at this. CR Vox coming in with 10 gifted memberships to the channel. If you guys got gifted a membership, make sure you say, thank you. CR Vox, that's massive. Really, really appreciate your support. That puts us at 10, halfway to our goal of 20 for the day.
There's a lot of green in the chat just now. Lovely.
Let's freaking go. Paint that chat green. Hey, do me a favor. Look at that. Look at that.
Look at it.
All right, let me pop it on the wall. Blabs, got anything else to read? Anything else to share? No. Okay,
no.
All right, cool.
All I have to say is that I don't call CBS Halo Master Chief. I call him Master Cheeks. That's about it.
That's appropriate.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, we have a little bit of a breaking news, actually, and this is intriguing to me. I don't know if this is intriguing to anybody else. Does anybody watch pro wrestling?
I used to a little bit.
Okay. Are you familiar with what's been going on with Vince McMahon?
No.
Over the last...
You mean
Over the
like
last
plastic
40
surgery?
years?
No, over the last couple... really, over the last couple years where he has been accused of some pretty tough stuff. He was booted out of the company for a little bit, but he's still the majority holder. But from a frontman perspective, he was removed. Have you heard about all this? No?
Not in specific terms though, but I did hear that he got kind of like stepped down to a more behind the scenes role like 2 years ago or something. Am I remembering that correctly?
That is correct. And then he recently came back. Well, some news has come out this morning, which is, I mean, it's all speculation at this point, but I'll tell you this. This sounds pretty fucked up. I just want to read this tweet here, and this is from WrestleOps over on Twitter. So, and once again, totally, this is not on the run sheet or anything today, Blast. We're just going to go with this. But it says, a woman who received a payout from WWE boss Vince McMahon has accused McMahon, the company, and a former executive of sex trafficking in a new lawsuit that raises questions about the breadth of an internal company probe conducted by a law firm last year. Janelle Grant, a former employee at WWE headquarters, said in a lawsuit filed Thursday that she was abused and sexually exploited by McMahon while he was chief executive. She alleged that McMahon lured her with promises of career advancement, and then he allegedly exploited her and trafficked her to other men inside the company. The lawsuit filed in Connecticut federal court describes in graphic detail Grant's account of interactions with the businessman and TV personality. She alleged that McMahon and other WWE executives locked her in an office in WWE's headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut on June 15th, 2021, and then took turns sexually assaulting her while other staff were working. In the middle of another workday on June 23rd, 2021, McMahon locked Grant inside his private locker room at WWE's offices and forced himself on her over a massage table, the suit said. Later that day, McMahon's personal assistant delivered a $15,000 Bloomingdale gift card to Grant in her office. The suit also includes screenshots of explicit text messages that McMahon allegedly sent to Grant. A 2020, one from May 2020 said, "I'm the one who owns you and controls who I want to fuck you. Wow. This is pretty freaking dark, man. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, that goes beyond the, hey, they're pretty wild in the wrestling industry, aren't they?
Right,
Crazy
right.
Yeah,
I read into this article while you guys were talking about that. I was reading the Wall Street Journal article about this as well, and this is even more messed up, man. It says Grant alleged that McMahon shared nude photos and explicit videos of her without consent with other WWE employees, unnamed executives, and stars, and directed her to have sex with him. The suit cited a July 2020 text that said McMahon.
With them. It was with them, not with him.
Yes, yeah, with them.
Oh,
the suit cited a July 2020 text that said others at WWE wanted to have sex with her after seeing photos on McMahon's phone, and the group laughed when he told them she may scream and try to say no, although it would be difficult to say anything with a cup down her throat.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
This is kind of like, this is one of those things where, as I'm just reacting to this initially and seeing this live, Vince McMahon, the character, was always like super sleazy and super, he was like this womanizing guy, right? And that was kind of part of the character. And you see this, and if this is true, the character, the apple, doesn't fall far from the tree, if that's the case. And it's also really like, Vince McMahon has never been a hero of mine, but I have admired his business acumen, right? And it'd be a really big fall from grace from where he was a decade or 2 decades ago, compared to, if this goes through and let's say there's criminal charges and there is some sort of, truth to this, which you never know, right? They say there's pictures and text messages and all sorts of stuff. And if that's there, but you try to stay neutral when hearing something like this, but then you hear those exact those things and you read text messages or what are supposedly text messages. That's like really kind of crazy. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Blabs, what are your thoughts on this?
This is my thoughts. If true, then arrest them all. If false, she needs to go to jail. Because this could totally... Both of them are pieces of shit, but it was a whole scandal when he wasn't actually doing the things he was accused of, and of slander. He got fired from Warner Brothers, etc., etc. So people shouldn't be losing their jobs over allegations. I think how this is already handled is pretty shitty because it's just kind of been leaked and announced. And are there police reports? That's another question, right? Like, as the chat was saying. Yeah, I would be hesitant to believe anything just because anyone can say anything on the internet, and how are you to know if it's real or not?
It's generally not a good idea to speculate on the outcome of allegations in general, even when they sound really bad. Like, I mean, even like we all kind of had some visceral reactions as Craig was telling us that. And I think that those are warranted because it's like, oh man, if that's true, that's terrible. But I think I will always, at least personally, I always try to make the distinction of being like, well, at this point, we don't really know anything. We know a Washington Post article excerpt, and that's pretty much it. So, I think that if this is all true, then I think she should pursue legal action, and I think that no one, no matter who you are, should always pay the price for the consequences of your actions, and no matter how long it's been or how long you've been doing it and getting away with it. Because, I mean, just because people have been telling you, oh, well, Vince, you're a superstar or whatever, you don't play by the same rules as everyone else for 30, 40 years, that still doesn't mean it's right. Or I guess, man, is it 50 now? Because I said 40 years initially to be like, that's how long wrestling was around while I've been alive, because that's roughly my age. But
yeah, and as Retromeister says, innocent until proven guilty, folks. Let's not join the witch hunt. Right. But that once again, don't want to speculate about this, but I'm just saying, if this is true, what a fall from grace. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing. But my initial thought when reading this, I went to 2020. Right, this is in July 2020. There's a pandemic that is raging at this point.
2021.
So the suit cites that in July 2020, a text that McMahon was,
So it's ongoing. 2020,
yeah, it was
2021.
2020, May 2020, July 2020. But
Where in the world? Or is that
is
known?
This is
Because
this is in
the lockdown state
Connecticut?
might also. Oh yeah.
This is in Connecticut.
Like generally those states because generally the Northeast tends to be pretty. They were pretty on board with all the lockdown stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Trying to tiptoe around the political issues, but at the same time, them being at work at all for that kind of stuff to happen is like almost kind of surprising because like why would they be essential? Like it's wrestling.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But this also, remember, WWE did this thing called the Thunderdome. That was a biosecure bubble that was created by the WWE, so they could still continue their shows.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah,
they launched
that's the puzzle I didn't have.
Well, they launched that in August of 2020, right?
Huh.
So if this happens in July 2020, they're
They're probably
certainly
getting ready for it. Yeah.
they're getting ready for it, and they know but they're over here. If this is the case, I don't know, man. Straight to jail if it's the truth. Straight to jail if it's not the truth for her. You know what I mean? Like I can't. The false accusations I can't deal with. If they are accurate, then that's tough. I don't know, John. You got anything on that? Sorry, I got totally distracted when that story popped up, and it's crazy to think about.
No, I pretty much agree with everybody. Sounds terrible. Should be investigated, due process, and all that, and deal punishments accordingly.
All right. Yeah, like I said, it's reacting to it live. Certainty of Strife, I'll react to this live with 10 gifted memberships to the channel. Hey, love that.
Yeah.
Look at that. That puts us at 20 for the day. That hits our goal. Love to see that. We need some sort of music whenever we hit that,
I have this.
I don't even hear it.
It got kind of muted digital or like through the software, but I knew what that was. Yeah.
So you know what? I played that during Tuesday night's main event, and it like deafened everybody. So I tried to play it real quietly that time, but I guess I might have gone too far.
Hey, thank you so much, Certainty of Strife.
Victory theme.
Incredibly generous. Thank you very much. The Ultra Legend says, sadly, Halo as a franchise has been a clown show for a while. Thankfully, there's been a pretty big regime change within 343 Industries. So hopefully soon things can change for the better. Thank you.
And there's also all those fan films too. So
I hear Halo Infinite is actually in a pretty good state. And if you're talking about Landfall, yeah, that wasn't a fan film. That was official.
No, I wasn't talking about that.
Oh, okay, because Landfall is generally the one that I'll bring up is like that. That was the Halo movie we could have had, everybody. It was the films that Neil Blomkamp and Peter Jackson, I believe, had commissioned for the Halo 3 ad campaign, because they were going to then go into having Peter Jackson and Neil Blomkamp's Halo. But Universal was like, $200 million, that's too expensive for a movie about a video game. And then it never happened. And years later, we got the Halo TV show. And movies cost $300 million to make the Marvels and shit.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's move on to our next story here. This is you never like to see people losing jobs, especially after a massive acquisition. Remember the Microsoft Blizzard deal that kept going and going and going, and there was like antitrust stuff, and it eventually went through. Well, it went through, and today Microsoft has fired 1,900 people in their gaming divisions, including Activision Blizzard. So 2,000 people out of work today. Unfortunately, the president of Blizzard is out, which is yikes. So we'll kind of see what happens.
I mean, that might not be the worst call.
Well, this is it represents 8% of Microsoft's 22,000.
The 1,900 people. I'm not saying that. I meant the president of Blizzard leaving, because Blizzard's not exactly been killing it for the last decade, as far as I'm concerned. But I don't know. Maybe there's some WoW players out there who tell me I'm wrong. But
go woke, go broke. If
no, don't do it. Don't do it, Blabs. Don't say that nonsense. Because here's the thing, right? Like that's a default thing. That's a default thing.
It is, though.
Blabs, hold
on.
Probably not what's happening in this situation, though, because they just got bought by Microsoft.
Right. This is not as simple as go woke, go broke. Because what happened was they had a major acquisition, and I was waiting for somebody to say that. They had a major acquisition, and when you then merge the companies, you see where overlap has happened. And that's exactly what's happened here, where 2,000 people had very similar jobs. And as they said so much, together we set priorities, identify areas of overlap, and ensure that we are aligned for the best opportunities for growth. Like that, it's definitely not a.
Well, so you're telling me you don't think Microsoft is a woke company?
That's not what I said.
It doesn't have anything to do with it though. Just because, like, okay, maybe they are, maybe, but I mean, realistically, if Blizzard's super woke, Microsoft buys them, and then they fire all the woke people. That makes no sense. If Microsoft's also woke, but like, let's keep it. Do they need double the amount?
They definitely don't need all these extra employees.
They need
it's kind of
double
like
the amount
Twitter
of in-house
throwing all those employees out.
Like the things that they're like, okay, now that Microsoft is footing the bill for all these extra things that we had that aren't really about making video games, why don't we get rid of all those positions and just keep the people we need, which honestly is pretty smart. Even though I don't ever like cheering on when people get fired, even when it's a creative, sure, but when it's like a big amount of people, it's like, man, like lots of those people are just working there, right? Like they weren't they weren't the ones calling the shots. So if Lucasfilm destroyed your favorite Star Wars movie or whatever like that, or Indiana Jones, name a franchise they've destroyed, and probably true. But if they all of a sudden decide, okay, we're laying off 500 people, but it's all going to be creative, so we're going to get new writers in and do that, that would be a lot different than them saying, yeah, we've hired all the contractors who built our sets. So
John, your thoughts?
Blue collar workers, it's like not quite as nice.
John?
I mean, I take no pleasure in people losing their jobs either, but like these companies, they're not charities or daycare centers. Like if you work there, you're there to serve the company and do them, offer them something, offer them value. If you don't do anything at the company, you don't offer them enough value, then yeah, it's not a surprise that they get fired.
This is you're right. There are no safe spaces in the world, despite what colleges want you to think, and that if you're not performing, you will be out. What is pretty sobering, though, as pointed out by this guy, we've had stories about lots of people getting fired, laid off to start 2024. This tweet comes in, says, that's 5,900 video game industry layoffs in 2024, the first 25 days of the year. Put that in perspective. Nearly 60% of all of 2023. And that's crazy.
So I think that like there's actually an even higher level reason than just Microsoft acquisition for that, because now he's talking about total industry layoffs in addition to things like Riot and all sorts of other companies that have been letting people go for this coming year. And I think that is primarily the natural reaction of what happened with all the lockdowns and stuff. Because Riot, for example, during that time, had a lot of success with Arcane, which was one of their big major projects. They also had this initiative called Riot Forge, in which they made all these other League of Legends spin-offs that were paid for by Riot, but developed by other companies. I've played a few of them. Some of them are good. Some of them are not so good, but Ruined King's a good one. It's like a JRPG. I'd recommend that one. And there's also an Echo Metroidvania, like Echo, the character Echo. But anyway, so there's probably not going to be a whole lot of those games being put into development anymore, because they're like, okay, so people are leaving their houses again, and maybe they can't be buying battle passes for both League of Legends and Valorant every single month. So we should try to focus on making those good for the people who want to actually buy them, because that's our steady income. And then limit the accessory projects to ones that we actually think are going to either return money or return viewers, because apparently Arcane, which I guess I can attest to an extent, is not a big one for generating League of Legends players. Like, you could see League of Legends and then watch Arcane and like it, but not a lot of people who watch Arcane on Netflix, which is a fantastic show that I recommend everybody watch, they're not necessarily going to buy the next battle pass. Craig's muted though. Yeah. Craig, you're muted.
Yes. I was counting the amount of little spin-offs you went making your point. I loved everything about it. Thank you, Mark.
So, I try to explain this to people. My logic kind of works.
We're good, Mark. We're good. Yeah, I don't think anybody enjoys watching people get fired, unfortunately. But it's a shame. But it is. I do think, as pointed out in the chat, somebody mentioned the idea says we are in a gaming crash. I don't think we're in a gaming crash, but I do think that technology, the tech sector as a whole, people are beginning to pull back. in a major way. I think the era of fluff and the amount of money that's been thrown into this stuff, I think people are starting to pull back a little bit. So
I think it's a mix of a lot of things. I think because of COVID, you hired a lot of people who could work from home, make video games, but some of these video games were just crap. They were really bad video games. You hired people who didn't actually have the skills, so it was just a quota hiring. And now you have to get rid of all these people who aren't even that good at their jobs, and so now you have the layoff, but you also have all these crap games still out. So that's my thoughts.
There's a lot of bloat, which is being extinguished at this present time. So
yeah, lots of AAA companies just took too much on, and I think now we're going to see the adjustments to account for that. There's the TLDR of my point.
Definitely, 100%.
Sure.
All right, let's talk about the flavor of the week, the flavor of the month, the flavor of 2024 so far. Let's talk about Palworld. There's been a lot of controversy around this game. Is it AI art? Is it a Pokemon reskin? What is it? Now, as we talked about this pretty much every day, everyone's favorite activist group, PETA, has got in on the fray. And PETA has issued a statement addressing animal cruelty in Palworld. So here we are. By the way, these are animals, just fictional, fake animals in a video game. But they have said, PETA has already heard from many Palworld fans who have no interest in eating pals and want a vegan guide created for the game.
I tried to cook my chickens.
In this game is vegan, okay? Because no animals are dying for it. Like, let's get that straight. No one's coding in the characters in the game and the fact that you can kill and eat them and then slaughtering a goat as a sacrifice. That's not happening.
I have a question for everybody. And there are even vegetarians, even vegans, right? Who likes PETA? Aren't they just kind of fucking annoying? Right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Does anybody in our this is something that I would love to hear. If you side with PETA, don't you still think you're fucking annoying? Aren't you well, we are pretty annoying,
People don't even really know what PETA does, and I will tell you, TLDR basically, they euthanize animals.
Yes.
They actually euthanize animals. They don't rescue animals. Fun fact for you.
And where's your background on this? I don't know.
I've done lots of research on PETA because of agricultural background. However, you can go to the website once upon a time, and it would actually tell you straight up that they would go and euthanize animals. But PETA stands for People Eating Tasty Animals. And also, I was one of those people who tried to cook their dead chickens on Palworld the other day. So I'm one of those people PETA hates, and I'm proud of it.
You're a horrible person, Blab.
Yes.
I mean, it's less brutal than if you tried to cook one of the live chickens.
It's a great point.
Well, I would never do that. That's just horrible animal cruelty. I know how to get rid of them.
John,
it seems every time they... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, my man.
Oh, every time they complain about something, it's like a punchline. It's like, oh, who pissed off PETA this time? You know, they always whenever they come out of the woodwork, it's just like, oh god, PETA's pissed off.
And it goes back to their statement where PETA has already heard from many. The statement of many Palworld fans, right? No, they haven't. They haven't heard from any Palworld fans. Nobody's writing PETA. Yeah, nobody's writing PETA and is like, listen, guys, I'd really like a vegan guide for Palworld. Can you make that happen? Really put the pressure on them. That's when you see a news reporter at a questioning an athlete or something, right? And they go, well, some people say that you need to work on your 3-point shot or something. Oh, really? Who specifically? Who has said that? Well, some people. What a cheap cop out. I hate that shit.
Own the criticism.
It drives me crazy.
I don't know. I don't mind if they complain or about or expose needless abuse at these factories and stuff.
Yeah, factory farming.
Yeah, exactly. But this,
right?
Fuck off, dude.
Yeah, once you said, I at PETA have now dedicated my week to fighting digital animal violence in a video game in which no real animals appear. I think you've got to quit. You're
think-
done, PETA. You're not bringing anything to the table, man.
Bill Mayer has something to say about this.
Fuck off, you oversensitive little shits.
Yeah.
There you go.
Come on, Bill.
I'm not
mean-
even sure. Like, do you kill the animals in Palworld?
Yeah, you smack them around. You can shoot arrows at them. Yeah, you can kill them.
Or you
Yeah,
can.
well, where were they with Zelda, where you can fire an arrow at a wolf and it poofs into a fucking steak? I guess that's no problem. Or
yeah.
Or
the
Minecraft.
Pokemon, just regular Pokemon, where you capture Pokemon and make them fight each other. Like, is that not an issue for PETA? I guess killing them is the big thing. Like, I don't know.
I think PETA is just thinking like, hey, there's a trending topic that involves animals of some kind being enslaved. Find a way to use this.
Yeah, right.
I think
Well,
it's
you see-
just oh, there's a huge echo again. I hear that. Oh, it's gone. Anyway, I think it's just because Palworld is making all the news right now, and PETA wants to make themselves relevant somehow, and that's what they're doing.
I'm just gonna retweet them and just say, just let them know how I feel about them. Hey, there's also some news going on with Palworld, where a lot of people are saying it's just Pokemon with guns. Remember, that was the thing. It's Pokemon with guns, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
obviously-
impossible to not see the first Palworld trailer and come out with that assessment of it.
Well, it's been very successful in marketing for sure. But thanks to Mudahar over on Twitter, apparently the Pokemon Company is very aware of what's happening without actually saying Palworld. They released a statement that says, "We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game release in January of 2024. They're like, wink, wink, nod, nudge, nudge. "We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and will take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon and its world and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future." It's from the Pokemon Company. Listen, I
It
haven't
sounds like
played.
they're talking about actual animals. They're like, we're gonna nourish these Pokemon, and when they grow up, you're gonna get to play them in our
Gonna
new
grow and prosper.
asset reflip game that all Pokemon fans are going to immediately complain about, because I'm not a Pokemon player, but I notice almost every time a Pokemon game has come out in the last 5 years, that's what happens.
There's a John. Have you played Palworld at all?
No, but I've watched a lot of gameplay of it. I find it interesting. I would like to try it. Yeah, I probably will.
So, Blabs, you spent time with it.
Yeah, I played like 4 hours or so.
Okay, and your thoughts on this? Is there, obviously it draws inspiration from Pokemon, but to say that it infringes on its IP, I don't know. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like it's a gray area, but also how do you prove, right? Because Pokemon, we did this the other day. Pokemon has similarities to, what was it, Digimon or something else like that. We were talking about another thing the other day. It's all got similarities to it. So I don't know. I mean, there are similarities, the little Pokemon ball and everything. It's just, it's very detailed, but how do you prove without just being similar?
Well, here is
Yeah. So,
so here are some examples you're mentioning. This is Dragon's Quest and Pokemon, and there's a lot of similarities between the little creatures in Dragon's
Dragon
Quest
Quest.
and Pokemon, right?
Yeah, that
So,
was it.
and once again, it goes back to, for me, find me a product that wasn't inspired by another product, and I'm going to call you a liar, because that's impossible. Everything's inspired by everything these days. So I think Nintendo, as was mentioned earlier in the chat, Nintendo's going to find a very quick lesson in fair use, I think, perhaps, unless there are some emails that say like, hey, let's take this character and copy Pikachu or something along those lines. It's an interesting thing. I don't know, John, your thoughts?
Like you guys have said already, I mean, everything's derivative of something else. It made me think of when Tetris came out, and then after that we got like Columns. Dr. Mario, fucking Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Never mind all the modern stuff now, like Candy Crush and Bejeweled. It's all the same shit. Blocks fall down. You line up the colors in clear lines. And with this, I don't think they're gonna get into trouble. I think if they get into trouble for anything, it might be for some of the Pokemon designs themselves. I don't think they have any hold on like the basic framework of like capturing creatures and having like a team of creatures that you pit against other teams. Like, I don't think Nintendo has like a hold on like a serious legal hold on that. I think other people can do whatever they want, but there are parts of Palworld that I've seen where it's just like you are really trying to be Pokemon. Like I saw some footage of like the interface, and it was like I saw the box system. It was like box 1, 2, 3 for like holding the Pokemon in storage. Like that's straight out of Pokemon. It was like that since the DMG Game Boy game. Like,
well, what's
sorry,
interesting? I apologize. I didn't mean to.
No.
Didn't mean to cut you off. What's interesting here is, as pointed out in the chat, this is these two Japanese companies that are kind of squaring off against each other. Apparently, there's no fair use in Japan. But when you look at this, what's the worst thing that could happen in a situation like this? All this controversy is spurring sales. It's spurring interest in Palworld. So let's just say
the game could get
the
shut
worst.
down.
I was gonna say the worst is that Nintendo sues them for everything they have and demands that they are owed every single dollar that they made off Palworld. But
Yeah.
I don't think it would ever come to a ruling like that, because of what John was saying. That is, like, Nintendo doesn't have ownership over the idea of capturing a monster in game and then using it for something else in game. And I'm not a big Palworld guy. I've not played it. I've watched a lot of my wife play it, but I've seen enough of the gameplay to understand what it is. And it's much closer to being something like Valheim or Conan Exiles or Ark Survival Evolved. It's more about getting resources and then building stuff and creating an army with like the little animals. They're just one of the resources that you gather. Than it is about training and going to a gym. It's not turn-based combat. It doesn't play like a Japanese role-playing game at all, which is what most of the Pokemon games play like. It's just a survival game where instead of having slaves like you do in Conan, you have like little animals. And I think that when it comes to the concept of the game, like everyone, because the way you worded it initially was, do you think they're stealing Nintendo's IP? And I think that it's tricky, because if we're talking about individual designs, there's some arguments which could certainly be made. At the same time, are the Cylons in Battlestar Galactica really that distinctly different from the Stormtroopers in Star Wars?
Right.
It's like, oh, well, they both work for like a big evil empire, and they're in armor, so it's like it's basically the same. And the fighter jets look kind of like X-wings, because that was an actual lawsuit in the 70s, Star Wars versus Battlestar Galactica. And at a certain point, it's like, well, you don't own all of the concept of spaceships, and like an evil empire, that's like, it's a concept that a lot of people can get to differently. And what are we doing that is inherently Star Wars in Battlestar Galactica that you can need to sue us for? And I think that it would be very difficult to make an argument that Palworld is doing anything that Pokemon is doing specifically, which makes it impossible to tell that it's a distinct product. Now, a lot of people will then make the argument about brand name association or like brand dilution, where if people look at Palworld and say, oh, that's the new Pokemon game, and then a new Pokemon game gets announced, they're like, oh, they just announced one. I just bought the new one. I love this one. I'm not even worried about the new Pokemon. I think that's highly unlikely, though, because I don't think anyone's under the impression that Palworld is an official Nintendo product. So I think the best they'll be able to do is, this looks too much. Your wolf looks too much like our wolf,
Right.
which
may happen. And let's say they have to change some characters. At the end of the day, people are still getting to know these characters, whether they have a different look or not. Like they may change the look of a certain character, but people will still know its attributes and powers, even if they have to make those changes. I don't know. Controversy creates cash. That's the old saying, right? And I don't see this as a necessarily bad thing, unless the game just totally gets shut down. Which, in the case that, let's just say Nintendo goes hard and they shut down Palworld, right? Let's just in a weird world where that happens, which it won't. But if it did, how bad would Nintendo look by doing that? Be horrible.
Yeah.
I don't think they care. When it comes to doing legally shady shit that is not in the best interest of customers, but in the best interest of Nintendo, yeah, I kind of wouldn't put it past them. And everyone, honestly, no one would really give them too much shit for it, because people tend to defend Nintendo no matter what decision they make.
Nintendo
As a
fanboys.
person who likes a lot of their games too.
I feel like they don't really have anything
John?
to sue on yet. Sorry, yeah, go on.
I do wonder how much of Palworld's success is due to the knowledge of how strict Nintendo is over their properties, and it's a bit of a fuck you to Nintendo almost. Like, I'm not saying it's not a good game. I'm just saying that I feel like that might have something to do with the sheer amount of sales. Because like also like an FU to Game Freak, which I think as a developer are stuck like 20 years in the past in terms of their game design. Like their approach to game design was more acceptable when, you know, it was back on the Game Boy where the hardware was so limited. And to even make a game happen of that scope, Nintendo had to do some pretty innovative things when it came to data compression, like for the Game Boy games especially. But now it's just like Game Freak hasn't evolved. Like it's just so basic. The stories are boring. Like every Pokemon game that I've played recently, it's just been so like straightforward. It's like beat this gym and then go to that island and then beat that guy. Okay. And then Elite Four or whoever's at the end, and then that's it. There's no twists and turns, nothing really exciting. I've heard Pokemon Black and White sort of has an interesting plot, but I didn't try it. But like, and even the simplicity of the game, like a lot of the Game Boy games, you can basically just stick with your starter Pokemon and mash A the entire fucking way through and beat everybody. Like they need to get better, have some ambition, raise the bar for themselves, try and make a really standout product. It's like, let's really wow people this year with this new Pokemon entry. I think they're quite happy to just coast, you know, and just deliver the minimum.
Right.
Know?
Well, and I think that's the one thing that you will see from this is competition. You know, competition will ultimately push them to be better. You know, let's say they made a new Pokemon game. And they went out and they, you know, did some of the same things that you see in Palworld in it, right? Would people embrace that, or would Pokemon quickly become a Palworld knockoff?
I guess they did do that open world one, so I think that all they'd really have to do is throw more survival crafting elements into that, and it would probably be pretty close. But there are other Pokemon knockoff games that Nintendo hasn't seemed to take in any action against, like Temtem. Anyone ever heard of Temtem? TMTM.
I've heard of it.
Feel free to look Temtem up. It's on PC and consoles. It's been out for a long time, and most of you could even pull up the Steam reviews, and I guarantee you a bunch of them are going to say this is the type of game that Game Freak should have been making for a decade now, because that tends to be the unanimous, I guess, general consensus on Temtem. But me, again, not being a Pokemon guy, I see these games and going to learn about them, but I don't really have the tools to properly critique it, so I couldn't tell you.
So I went on the Pocket Pair website, and here's
What's Pocket Pair?
This is the company that does this game,
Gotcha.
Palworld. That is the developer of the game. And here's their CEO. You notice he worked with DS development at Nintendo, right? So he's familiar with the video game industry space, the video game industry. My thought is, why don't Nintendo do what Microsoft has done, or Sony's done, or let's say Activision's done? They go out and they acquire Pocket Pair,
Right.
buy it, and then they have Pocket Pair develop Pokemon games for them in the same vein as Palworld. Seems like a pretty big win-win. Now, it would have been considerably cheaper a week ago, but you know, just something to consider. You know, if they
Right.
I think that sounds like a pretty good idea.
I have one question for you guys. Don't you think that if Nintendo had an actual legal cause to sue Palworld, they would have done it when the first trailer was dropped as like a cease and desist? Like, this is your RIP, you're like smooching off of. Don't
Probably.
you think they could have done that? So I don't really think they have a case for suing.
Yeah, probably.
No, I agree. Yeah, I don't think they have anything. I don't think it'll be successful if Nintendo does try something.
Yeah. You guys obviously have a lot of opinions on this, and I appreciate that. Abdulio just came in, says Game Freak has gotten very lazy in each new mainline release of Pokemon, from character design to even game optimization and polish, from stiff animations to a visible PC mouse left on a pre-rendered cutscene by accident for the opening and in credits. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. That's funny.
I do wonder just how divorced the Pokemon Company and Game Freak are from Nintendo, because I think Nintendo, they could be making way more money off the Pokemon franchise if they were putting out higher quality games, and it makes me wonder why Nintendo doesn't go over there and be like, hey, let's get some new developers in here, like maybe some people off the Breath of the, Tears of the Kingdom team or their Mario team. Let's get them working on Pokemon and make a sweet Pokemon game instead of just being satisfied with the shit that Game Freak, the sort of gray sludge that Game Freak puts out every couple of years. So, I feel like they're losing out on so much money. They must know that. But then maybe they just figure, like, you're the Pokemon company, you handle Pokemon, we don't want to deal with it. We're focused on Zelda and Mario. You do your thing, try and make it good.
Well, here's the thing. Let's look at the other perspective as well. Is that this is like, oh, Pokemon games suck in comparison to Palworld. Palworld's pushing the limits. They're making Pokemon go. Here's the thing. We were just talking about the Pokemon games and the ones on the Switch, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, were released. And I got this article pulled up over here. Surpassed 10 million units in the first 3 days. 3 days. So that's crazy. That's crazy to think. So, and so it's not doing that bad. It's not doing that bad. So once again, why change if you're rocking 10 million units? But maybe Palworld, once again, we'll push them a little bit further. So we'll kind of see what happens.
How much is Palworld in the US? I know it's $30 here.
$30. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's weird. It's the same price in Canada. It should be 40.
It's probably like 26 or something like that, isn't it?
It might be something like that. But anyways, I think that the price point is not to be disregarded here because you've got every single Xbox and PC player who has Game Pass that can immediately just play the game without spending a lick of extra money. So that right there is a lot of players that you can get in who apparently are not counted in the currently 8 million, which are all Steam sales. It'd be like Xbox and Game Pass numbers are not factored in.
That's true.
And so that's why, like, when people started telling me, oh yeah, like the game budgets are getting higher, everybody. So PS5 and Xbox Series generation, $70. That's got to be the flat point. These games are just getting too pricey. My whole thing is like, okay, so then how come a small team can make the best-selling game of one of the most played games on Steam, aside from I forget even what's beating it, but it was like Counter-Strike Go, and then there's one other that's actually still above it. I think it was PUBG, actually.
PUBG.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Mm-hmm. And that happens when you've got a low barrier for entry, more likely than it's going to happen if it's a $70 product that you have to like pay $110 for in Canada. Yeah, that's how much games cost here now. $93.49 before tax. So great for us. But you know what I mean? Like it's the kind of thing that I think that a lot of developers can learn from this in taking away the lesson that if you make a game that's more flexible, that's easier to develop quickly, to make changes to on the fly, and that you can just play around with an idea, even if that idea is taking two concepts and smashing them together. That's something that you can be like, because I mean, the same company, I think they made a Breath of the Wild kind of clone too, didn't they? That didn't do very well.
Yeah, there's been.
Yeah, I think it's called.
Right. And it's all inspired. Once again, it goes back to everything's inspired by everything else. If there is an original concept, like we go back to PUBG. PUBG was fire when it came out, right? But what was PUBG inspired by? It was a Dota mod, I believe. Or
it was H1 and H1Z1. It was an H1Z1 mod, and it was developed by like the modder PlayerUnknown. Hence,
right there you go. So, everything's inspired by everything else. It's crazy to think about. Hey, Darian came in, was talking about the layoffs. Says Carolyn's best friend Inns was amongst the ones fired of the layoffs there by.
Oh man, that sucks.
What a bummer! I saw that. Cuddy says you need to read the Vince McMahon article. Apparently, Brock is into peace stuff, and okay, number 2'd on her during the action and used toys on her named after wrestlers. Oh, thanks, Cuddy Snark. Appreciate the.
That's information I could have gone my whole life without.
Yeah. Mercenary says, PETA are hypocrites. They are just pure evil. Thank you, Mercenary. 60 Watt says, didn't PETA make that stupid Mario game that was all gory and stuff? I don't recall that. They have tried to make some like culture games and stuff. But,
I mean, Ultra Violent Mario. I kind of want to check it out now.
Killing humans is fine with PETA, right?
That's right.
Sorry,
that's right. Wolfsbane says, Game Freak hasn't made an excellent Pokemon game that's not a remake since Black and White 2. They've had fun gimmicks, but not great games. It's Wolfsbane. Old Man Hawk says, Legal Mindset, who works in Asia, has done an in-depth analysis. If you wonder if one Japanese company is in trouble with another Japanese company.
I did check out that video, and X-Ray Girl's gameplay footage is the B-roll.
Nice. Kratos says, Nintendo is mostly talking about the Pokemon mods. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see kind of what happens with that. I'm sure they already got the.
I don't even really see an issue with that. I mean, people. I just saw it like a GTA San Andreas mod where you play as Spider-Man. Like people are modding all kinds of shit from other stuff, and like why is a line drawn here? With Pokemon models, like I don't know.
But they.
Well, I think that line's about to start getting drawn in a lot of places. Like apparently Capcom's even now going back and putting DRM into old games to make them more difficult to mod, and I do not like that. I think that is a bad trend, and I hope it stops.
No, me neither. I think companies in general need to lighten up on the whole, modding stuff.
Scarpy came in and says Conan Exiles is infringing on Pokemon by having you catch exiles and enslay them. It's literally Pokemon. Go to the lawsuit. Thanks, Scarpy. And followed up and says, remember that Pokemon episode that never aired in America because it had guns in a wild West town? Thanks, Scarfy. And Extra Zero says Nintendo should be thanking Palworld. In the early 2000s, they had competition with stuff like Monster Rancher. Competition made Mario and Zelda better. Thank you.
Like I said, Temtem's still around. They just don't seem to care and don't want to make their game any better, apparently.
All right, let's go ahead and I'm gonna skip a couple stories here, Blabs. We got the Twitch thing. It's fine, but we'll kind of see where people go with that. But I got some Memberberries, a little bit of nostalgia for you guys before we go. I saw this video and I thought I'd share it with y'all, and I think you guys would be totally into this. Blabs won't understand it, but I think it's pretty fun. But I still think you may appreciate it, Blabs. But before I do that. Retromeister came in with the 10, says if Nintendo goes after the devs of Palworld and wins their suit, it's the end of Digimon, Dragon Quest, Monster Rancher, and Monster Hunter. I agree.
Monster Hunter? I don't know. Monster Hunter, you don't capture the. I think you do if you, but you still take their parts and make armor and stuff out of it once you capture them. You don't train them.
I know what you mean. Yeah, Monster Hunter seems a little bit out of that pool. Yeah.
Are you guys ready to go? Oh, that's awesome. Because that's what I did when I watched this.
I am.
This is a video. Well, how about we just watch this? This is the opening of the Xbox in 2001. Little bit of nostalgia for you guys. Here we go. Love to get your thoughts on this and just your general feelings to a simpler time, if you will.
It's November 15th, 2001. Made by Microsoft. Wow. Behold the power that is the Xbox.
There it is. Yeah.
So there you go. John, what'd you think while watching that?
I got that Xbox to play Halo 1, and man, that was an awesome moment. I remember now, because I was so hyped to play that game, and it was everything I wanted it to be. It was just great. Yeah.
Mark, were you around when the Xbox came out in 2001?
Yeah, I worked at an EB Games at the time, so I had mine pre-ordered at my own store, and just throughout the course of the year, I would consistently add money to my pre-order, so that by the time it was out, I could just take it home.
Nice.
Blabs, has there ever been a video
game? Halo.
Blabs, was there ever a video game console that you got or any sort of product that you were like and giddy like this guy was?
Yeah, I mean lots of Harry Potter stuff, but let's bring it to gaming. When I first got the Wii in 2008 when it first came out, I was like, whoa, this is dope. Yeah.
And I'm the nerd, Blabs.
Yes. Have we met? You are.
Yeah, the Wii was pretty fun for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to
also
think.
The PlayStation 1, because I got that used. So my friend got the PlayStation 2, so they gave me their old one, so I got that one. I got to play for the first time. I remember it powering up and everything. I was like, whoa. Little 5-year-old me.
Question for the chat. What is the best Xbox game? Put it in the chat. Winner gets nothing.
Winner gets air.
That's right. Now, curious. That's fun. There's so much there.
I mean, you can make the Ninja Gaiden argument.
Ninja Gaiden, yeah.
If you're not going to just use the easy one and say Halo or Halo 2, because I mean, Knights of the Republic's a big one that I think a lot of people would use. It was on PC at the time too, so I don't know if that counts as Xbox game because you could find it elsewhere. But That's back in the day when PC versions of things were not so assured from Microsoft. So
No, not at all. Yeah, there's a lot there. It's always fun to kind of have those nostalgic videos that pop on, and you just that first time you hear that power up, you're like, "Whoa, this is the next level. This is crazy."
It's a badass boot screen.
Yeah, it was pretty great. Man, that'd be a great top 10. Best boot up screens in console history.
I like
would
the
be, yeah.
PS3 one the most because it sounds like an orchestra tuning, or at least
it's
it did. I don't know if they changed it eventually, but I always remember being really impressed by that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The GameCube's my favorite one.
I mean, you could
it
even argue it with a
it was
gaming
fun.
company like EA, where it's like EA games challenge everything.
Yeah.
Love that when I was a kid.
Of
I was
course.
like,
Here you go, Mark. Here's a little nostalgia for you. Let's get this one going here. Your boot up.
Yeah. See?
You're gonna play some games. It's good stuff, man. Let's see if there's any more here. Oh yeah, here we go. The Slim and 3.0. That's fun. And glorious
That's
4x3 resolution right there. Yeah, the PlayStation 3 was a really fun console for me. I know it was kind of crap compared to the Xbox 360. I mean, Xbox 360 was king, but I still have nostalgia for PlayStation 3 in a positive way, even though it wasn't the best console. But it set things up for PlayStation 4, which owned that generation for sure.
I mean, if anything, I think PS3 was. I mean, this is going to sound, especially without context, I'm going to try to not give any. Is like PS3 was kind of Sony's peak in a lot of ways because that's when they were actually making a large variety of different games that were just theirs that they made in house. Now, like as much as I love God of War Ragnarok, we really are at the point where every single Sony exclusive, other than Gran Turismo, is a behind the back corridor game of sorts. Like, I mean, some of them are good. I'm not saying all of them are bad, but there was so much more variety on the PlayStation 3 where you could expect that every year there'd be things announced like Twisted Metal or something like that, like because they brought back Twisted Metal for one of the years towards the end, or there'd be sequels for Resistance and Killzone. Do you know when the last time Killzone was mentioned?
No.
This month, because the Hellgast logo is now a t-shirt you can earn in the $10 Last of Us roguelike mode. And they haven't made a first-person shooter in 10 years.
That's crazy.
Oh, now it's a QT for Ellie, guys. See? Get
I
fucked.
think in terms of first party variety for sure, but like PS2 had that huge third party support, that enormous library.
Oh, yeah.
And I
yeah,
think
for sure.
they
And
initially supported it with backwards compatibility, but then they started releasing consoles without it, and it was just like, nope.
it was the 60 gigabyte version of the original model that was backwards compatible. The 20 gigabyte version wasn't, and eventually they started doing like an emulation software conversion thing on the 80 gigabyte version, which I believe released with Metal Gear Solid 4. But they stopped that the second they went to the Slim. Slim does not play PS2 games, I believe. Oh wait, no. Actually, they still do. It's no, they play PS1 games, not PS2.
Okay.
Man, we should have a special like just PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, like singular these podcasts that just focus solely on
one console or
podcast, a
generation?
singular console. Yeah, single generation. That'd be fun. That'd be fun to talk about. Be good. How's your drink doing, John?
Good. Almost done.
Got a little fireball in there, yeah? All right.
Yeah.
You ready to burn down Canada after this?
Yep.
Let's go. Let's go.
You know it.
He's gonna
I'm
breathe
drinking
fire.
caffeine to try to stop them from the east.
Hey, James came in and says, look at what? I'll tell you what you need to look at. DW with his 20 gifted memberships. Look at that. Look at that. Right there, DW.
Nice.
That's awesome. Puts us at 40 for the day.
I high-fived the puppy. She's probably asleep right now, though, because she's not growling at all. He's a cute
Wake
little
up!
puppy.
Wake up, dog. Oh.
No, it's so cute.
No. Thank you, DW. Hey, if you guys got gifted a membership, make sure you say a thank you and consider paying that thing forward. That's outstanding. DW, what a rock star you are. Abdulio came back with 2, says, look up the video titled High Quality Animation, videos by Distant Kingdom on YouTube as he shows off a compilation of bugs, lazy shortcuts, and overall unpolished state of the latest Pokemon games. Abdulio, thank you very much. From Distant Kingdom, High Quality Animations. Noted. Maybe we'll check that out sometime. Almond John says, feels like PS3 and Xbox 360 were gaming before woke culture became a thing. They were. Yeah, absolutely. That was a great era of games.
You
Matthew
still had
says-
political correctness creeping its way in back then, too. It's always been around.
For sure.
Remember, the hub of gaming journalism has always been San Francisco. It's a pretty progressive place.
Yes, the most progressive. Matthew says, Nintendo owns 1/3 of Game Freak. Unless Nintendo bought them out, I do not see them diverting resources of Monolith Soft to fix Pokemon. Trading cards and merch dictate the length of the dev cycle. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate that. Very nice.
Monolith makes the Xenoblade games for Nintendo.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, man. That was fun. Blast, do we have any memes today?
We do. I just closed
Nice.
everything. Hang on.
Oh,
Please
bummer.
hold. Oh, look, there's even more. Okay, I got it. I got this. It's all good. We're good. Share's good.
Way to go, Blabs. Just on fire
Okay.
today. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not saying N-words. Okay. I don't know what this is. Baxter Zero made this. I'm gonna lower it just in case.
Time for hardcore gaming!
Mark the Cyborg, let's go!
I got bitches all on my dick and every day, sucking on my balls, licking on my balls.
You can make him do that.
I just have to make her think I'm going to move her. That's it.
Time for
Wow.
Wonderful.
That's pretty good.
All right, and then we got this one for
This has
Troop
been in the
Up.
background of my set for a while, and nobody's actually seen this. This was
Copyright
this
free.
was a newspaper article that my grandfather gave me when I was, I don't know, in high school. And on the bottom, it has a penny here. And it says, good luck, Craig, this is worth $1 million. And the long and short of it is that it says you can retire wealthy if you plan. Hey!
Nickelback, also Canadian.
Oh, Lord.
And then there's Mark the Cyborg's post, and then we have this one. We should consider moving community notes in favor of restoring independent fact checkers. Legion of Memers. You should first consider Hurricane Kick.
That's right. Wow. Bust that face.
I like
Community
this.
Night
This
still
is a
one of
good
the best
squad for
versions.
Halo.
Yeah, look at
Oh,
that.
nice.
Nice.
Let's see what this is. Good luck, everybody.
Wouldn't
You
it be
know.
great if that's how life worked? Like real life?
Like an actual video game, fighting game, yes.
Or-
Yes, I've
or-
thought that a lot.
Like Twitter. Let's imagine how if Twitter worked like that, right? The idea that you said something, then I said something, then we fought.
Yeah.
Like, I think there would be a lot. Twitter would be a better place.
Are you sure about that?
fire!
Wouldn't it
You
be
know.
great if that's how life worked? that the world was better when we had duels. Just gonna throw it out there.
Here I was talking about the risks of fist fighting. I mean, if we're talking pistol duels, then yeah, that's a future we don't want, everybody.
No, I'm just saying, like,
I can see the value in that. When I was posting my Chief Helmet takes on Twitter, and people were just like, another Halo fan talking a bunch of bullshit, and I'm like, great argument, dude. You didn't say anything substantial. Like, come on, give me something. If you disagree with me, don't just call me an idiot and expect me to be like, oh my god, you're right. Like,
Yeah,
it's
right?
pathetic.
Suggesting that you, of all people, are a mild Halo fan if
Yeah.
if pretty crazy too.
It's like, do you know who I am?
How much does Halo have to do with your professional career for the last 2 decades?
how much? It's funny to think about, and this is kind of an odd question. Do you think the world was a better place when duels were allowed, and you could just shoot a guy to death? Like,
So you could make that argument, and I think it would mostly be the deterrence theory that the threat of a duel is what keeps the peace more than the duels themselves.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. That's why it's why Texas is a great place to live. Everyone's got a gun. Everyone's got 3 guns, and just saying.
I don't think you even need a duel to keep things more civil on Twitter. Like if anytime somebody tweeted on Twitter, it was known that you had to like sit down with the person and just have a chat with them, like face to face. That would be enough for people to be more cordial.
Actually, yeah, that is pretty good.
Or if you
Because
had to
there's a
put your
lot of
real
people
face.
who would not.
There was a politician who was like, we're going to put real faces on you're going to make sure you can see your real faces on social media and stuff. And people were like, no, that's a horrible idea. Part of me's like, I guess I could kind of see that. I could see why there'd be a positive. I mean, but it's the old toothpaste out of the tube thing. You can't, once it's out, can't put it back in. So
I think then the idea is that would effectively destroy online freedom of speech, because every time everyone expresses an opinion, they have to assume that their boss is going to see it.
Of course.
And that they might get fired over it, because they can't have a de-individuated account anymore. And I think it's a bad idea.
Jay came in and says, what do you guys think of the what would you guys think if they made a Pokemon game that was similar to the brutal and dark Pokemon manga?
The brutal and dark Pokemon manga is a thing that exists. Was it a spin-off, or is the original manga just way darker than the TV show and the games are? I'm asking. You don't know.
Yeah.
Does anyone?
I don't know. Simplistic says, cool boomer take. Listen, it's not a take. I'm just saying I see the positives of it. That's all. Chill out. Relax. You can call me boomer all you want. I don't care. And thank you. Idiot. Almond John came in and says, maybe I should have said before woke culture became super sane. Thank you, Almond John. Appreciate that. All right, let's get out of here, guys. I want you guys to go subscribe to Mark the Cyborg. Check out his in-depth takes on video games, his streams, and you can go find John on his channel. We'll have links down below for the latest episode of Arby and the Chief, where it's about Master Chief.
Butt fucking.
His New Year resolution of fucking Arbiter's mom a little bit less in the ass this year, and we'll see if he follows through.
Arbiter might want a baby brother.
All right, let's get out of here, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out right now. We are 34 away from our 500 goal likes, so let's get those rookie numbers up, and let's hit the thumbs up button. We'd really appreciate that. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. And join us tomorrow. We'd love to see you guys. We're back at it and finish up the week strong at 11 a.m. Central Time for another episode of Side Scrollers. With that said, guys, remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go get it. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.
Later, everybody.